Hi everyone, Monique here, Intuitive Soul Savant. Settle in, get a cup of tea or coffee or a glass of water because I'm not timing myself today. Welcome to the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse analysed as a pair. So on the 25th of March, we have a lunar eclipse in Libra. That's a full moon in Libra. We're going to look at the charts of that eclipse, and we're also going to look at the chart of the 8th or 9th of April, depending where you are. We're going to look at that eclipse, and that's a total new moon eclipse. Now, at the moment, we have in our pairs, in our astrological pairs, we have the full moon before the new moon. And that's just because of the calendar and the way that the moon is shining in the early degrees of the sign. But that will correct itself later in June, July with our new moon, full moons. So we're going to analyse both of these charts. Now, I haven't seen anyone do that. Usually astrologers online will do the new moon and the full moon, in this case, the full moon and the new moon. But I'm going to bring them together. And there's a reason that I want to bring them together, because I believe we're here on an evolutionary journey. And when we look at the pairs of eclipses together, we get a lot more understanding. So if we only look at this full moon and we don't take into consideration the new moon coming in 2 weeks, we miss out on the benefits and the growth and the awareness and the expansion of consciousness. So let's get going. The 25th of October. Now that is a Monday here, Sydney time, and the full moon in Libra is at 5 degrees and 7 minutes, and it is full at 6 p.m. Monday, the 25th of March, Sydney time. Now, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, which I know a lot of you are, just subtract 15 hours from the times that I'm giving you, okay? And any other time zone, just look at the Eastern time zone, which is 15 hours before the Sydney time zone. Okay, so anyone with planets or points at around 5 degrees, and that could even be late degrees of Virgo even, we're going to give all of these a wide orb, okay, an 8, 9 degrees orb, just so we know what energies are in the mix for both of these eclipses. So 5 degrees, 7 minutes, have a look at your chart. If you've got planets or points there with the cardinal signs, so that's Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer. So that is a square and an opposition. So you may be affected energetically in a challenging aspect to this full moon. I just want to say we have no retrograde planets at all at the moment. So for this full moon eclipse, there's no retrograde planets. The only thing is that Mercury is in its shadow and will be going retrograde in Aries in April. Okay, so take that into account. We're all moving ahead, but Mercury is going to backtrack. So whatever's going on in these eclipses, Mercury is involved for us to reassess, relook at, rediscover, rename, anything okay? When Mercury's retrograde, we're having another look. We are slowing down. Humans, we move so fast, time moves fast, and the retrograde energies give us a chance to step back and take a breath, All right, so we've got our full moon in Libra at 5 degrees 7 minutes. Have a look at your chart. Now, the eclipse happens 13 minutes after the full moon is exact. And the eclipse is at 6:13 p.m. Sydney time. And this eclipse will sextile Pluto in Aquarius by about 6-7 degrees. It's not that close, but hey, we're talking eclipse energies here. And eclipses energies can stretch right out for 6 months. Okay, so the effects of these eclipses can come to pass 6 months around these dates. All right, so the full moon eclipse is sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, and our Pluto is at 1 degrees 45 minutes. So Pluto has sped up. Pluto is involved in these eclipses. The full moon eclipse it's involved in, and the new moon eclipse in April. So Pluto, our buddy, has his hands in all what's taking place here: death, transformation, and rebirth. Venus in Pisces, sextiling Jupiter in Taurus. Now, this energy is active for the full moon eclipse on Monday, the 25th. The same day here in Sydney at 3:37 a.m. on Monday morning, Venus in Pisces sextiles Jupiter in Taurus. Now, we will see that energy active with Venus. Venus is the ruler of this Libra eclipse. Okay, and Jupiter is in Taurus, and Venus rules Taurus as well. So there's a Venusian energy, Jupiterian, and Mars energy, all connected into this first eclipse, the full moon eclipse. Now, I'm taking it slow because I know that we've got beginner astrologers here, and I love that. I'm here to raise people up who are just starting out, and I'm here to bring it in a down-to-earth manner, energetically, so that you can keep up with me and I don't get too textbooky. All right. Now, this eclipse, this full moon eclipse, is called a penumbral eclipse. And what that means is that we don't get to see it. It's in its shadows. The moon is passing through Earth's shadow as it becomes full. So we do not get to see this full moon. Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. However, energetically, it's in the shadows. So for this full moon, there's a preparation, a digging. And when the two are worked together, we have the sun in Aries. We have the sun in Aries for this full moon eclipse opposing Libra. Now, we've discussed the nodes, the last video. Have a look at it, short video regarding the nodes. And it's the nodes of the moon close to the physical moon itself that brings on an eclipse. And that's why the nodes are so important, because we acknowledge eclipses. And here in this channel, we acknowledge the north and the south node, Rahu and Ketu. So check that video out. So this one's a penumbral eclipse. Now, that's penumbral as opposed to partial or total eclipse. Nothing to see here with a penumbral eclipse. All right, shadows, shadow work, unconscious. The moon rules the shadows, the unconscious energies. So we have work to do in this eclipse because of the new moon eclipse, new energy, initiation. The new moon eclipse on the 8th or 9th of April is the initiating energy. And when we have a look at the charts, there's so much to back that up, that we are doing work for Aries our first sign, our initiating sign, our self, first house, and then the new moon eclipse in, the full moon eclipse in Libra, but the new moon eclipse, which I'm going to be focusing on, the self, this full moon, relationships. And the full moon is the ending of a cycle. However, these two eclipses are working together. We're a little skew-if, and that eclipses bring confusion and change, definitely change, and long-term change, permanent change, okay? So the moon's passing through Earth's shadow. Nothing to see here, nothing to see in the moon, penumbral, however, deep in our shadows. But we'll have a look at that chart. Now I'm going to pop over to the new moon, which is the 8th or 9th of April, as I said. Now that new moon will be at 19 degrees and 24 minutes of Aries. The solar eclipse happens before the new moon is exact. The solar eclipse actually happens in Sydney, Australia at 4:17 a.m. But the new moon is exact at 4:28 a.m. Okay, so the eclipse happens before the moon is exactly new. All right. Now this is called a solar eclipse. New moon, solar eclipse. We're back to front. This is a big one. This is a big one, but it's a carryover energy from what we're experiencing now, okay, with the full moon eclipse in Libra. Now, Mercury in Aries is squaring Pluto in the early degrees of Aries, and I'll show you that on the chart. And this is happening at 1 degrees and 58 minutes, Pluto in Aquarius, and Mercury for this new moon is retrograde, okay? So the full moon was in the shadow of the Mercury retrograde, but this new moon, Mercury is retrograde, okay? There's lots of reflection, digging up, change, rethinking. So Pluto is making aspects with this full moon and this new moon, all right? Mercury at this stage is retrograde at 24 degrees and 48 minutes. So have a look at your chart. Anything from 13 degrees Aries to right into Taurus. When you have a look at the chart, you'll see the stelliums that are going on. And all of the planets are just about in 1/4 of our charts. I've never seen it like this, actually. It's because the outer planets have caught up with each other, okay? And the children now are going to have like 3 signs of energy, okay? So with this new moon total eclipse, the sun and the moon are going to be exactly conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So the nodes, we've had a lot of, the sun's crossed the nodes, Mercury's crossed the nodes, Venus hasn't yet, and Mars hasn't yet. But for this eclipse, I think Mars is already ingressed into Aries. Into Pisces, I'm sorry. Yes, into Pisces. So, you know, this new moon eclipse in Aries, the ruler, Mars, okay? But we'll have a look at the chart. So Mars is conjuncting Saturn in Pisces for the new moon eclipse in Aries. Now, all of the Saturn returners, have a look at your chart and see if You have your Saturn anywhere from 5 degrees through to 17, 18 degrees, okay? Very close, all right? So that energy is active from the 9th to the 12th of April, and Northern Hemisphere the 8th. So this energy is active, Mars conjunct Saturn. So this eclipse, a total eclipse, the totality of that eclipse begins over the South Pacific Ocean. Southern Hemisphere, you will not see anything, nothing to see here. Southern Hemisphere, we've got some amazing eclipses coming in 2027 where they will cross most of Australia, and that's pretty exciting for us down under. So this eclipse begins over the South Pacific Ocean. It crosses North America and states of the United States and Canada. So it's all happening up in the Northern Hemisphere. So I think that's all I wanted to discuss, but I think it's important that we get onto the chart, and I will share. I better get some glasses on. I'll share my screen. Here we go. So we're looking at, first up, we're going to be looking at the full moon on Monday. Okay, so here we have the moon at 5 degrees, 13 minutes, opposing the sun, 5 degrees. So have a look at your charts. Now look at Neptune here. The moon is opposing Neptune. However, Neptune's in Pisces, but it's still in orb. So late Pisces degrees, late Virgo degrees, okay? Here, late Virgo degrees, opposing the sun, okay? So there's energy there. Now look down here. We have Venus has made a conjunction with Saturn at 12 degrees. Venus, 16 degrees, Saturn, 13 degrees. All right, so Venus is already conjunct Saturn, and that's actually today as I'm making this video. And I have woken up, today's Thursday in Australia, and I have felt these energies come in. So I'm making this today, and I'll be uploading it for you guys tomorrow. So you've got the weekend to watch this video. All right, so we've got this full moon in Libra. Okay, what do we do there? We jump over and see the ruler. Where is the ruler of Libra? Where's Venus? Well, Venus is up here conjuncting Saturn. Venus, Libra, relationships. Don't look at the houses because this is for Sydney time. Relationships when we think of Venus, and the sun, the ego, in ego sign, right? In a very strong sign, the sun in Aries. Now, we have discussed this. When the nodes are transiting, that's for the collective. So there may be, there's a few things can happen here depending on your chart. So the sun in a very strong sign, Aries, opposing the moon, our emotional energy in Libra, relationships. Okay, so if we're too egoistic to jump at a gun, very much Aries energy, this is what we're talking about. We are looking after our ego and ourself. But if there's relationships, this with Saturn here, integrity, Venus, conjuncting Saturn, integrity in relationships, integrity with ourselves, Sun in Aries. And with Neptune here in the mix as well, there's an ethereal, spiritual tone. You know, Venus is also self-love, self-care. Do we need more discipline? Saturn, in our self-care regimes. Do we need more discipline in our relationships? Showing up. Do we need more discipline? Communication with Mercury. Mercury is in shadow, not yet retrograde. However, in Aries, thinking of ourselves. We have Chiron here, which that new moon in April will be conjuncting. All right, so Chiron in Aries, the wound of the self, speaking up for ourselves, perhaps speaking up for ourselves in relationships, depending on what house you have Libra in. If it was in the 4th house, Libra, this is speaking up for self with home and family. If you have Libra in the 6th house, this is your daily duties. Are you over serving others? Right? And 10th house career. Look at your chart, see where Libra is, and that will be the theme of the relationship. Then you can come up here and look at the sun. And, you know, we must be careful that we don't get too egotistical when we are boundaries, Saturn, setting boundaries, Saturn, in relationships, Venus. Now, these are both in Pisces, okay? And we know that Pisces can be a little avoidant of drama, okay, and speaking up. They'd rather just let the water flow under the bridge, so to speak. Can you see, by looking here, what we've got going on? And when I show you the next chart, we're going to jump over now to the full moon, the new moon chart. It's really confusing when the full moon is before the new moon, especially in a pair of eclipses. So let's see if I can just jump over. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Now we have all the planets on the other side. This is for Sydney time zone. Okay. Right. So we've got a new moon here at 19 degrees. Look, we've got Chiron 19 degrees, the sun 19 degrees, the moon 19 degrees. Our divine feminine, divine masculine, our wounded healer, the north node where we're supposed to head, which is all about the self. And in this chart, it's the 1st house, Sydney time zone. Right? And we have Neptune in Pisces, now conjuncting Venus in Aries. Okay, see that conjunction there. Now, Mars has gone from 1 degree at the full moon all the way up here to conjunct Saturn. And on a personal note, my Saturn is at 13 degrees Pisces, 13 something Pisces. So I will have Mars and Mars conjuncting Saturn and Saturn return, Saturn's second return. So Gen X, the millennials that are having their Saturn return, check out these degrees and check out whether they are involved in any of these eclipses, okay? Now we've got sextiles and trines there from Mars to Saturn, but these two are conjunct, okay? Action, activated. Mars has come in now to activate Saturn in Pisces. And then Mars will move into its home sign of Aries, where it's very, very comfortable. And, you know, if you're wanting to get something going, this new moon would be the time to start, because by the time the full moon comes around, I'm hoping that Mars would be very close to entering Aries for the next lot of eclipses. All right, so we have Mercury retrograde here, 24 degrees, 25 degrees. Check out the degrees in your chart. But this new moon conjunct Chiron, wow, 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 okay, in Aries. This is about us searching ourselves deeply to see if we're looking after ourselves and what relationships, and it doesn't have to be relationships with people, any relationship. And I did say this, a relationship with your dog, relationship with your business, whatever relationship, if there's dysfunction there because of wounding, previous wounding, this life, past lives, if that's stopping you, these eclipses, this pair and the next pair, very much, this is the chance that we have, collective. This is the chance that we have, and we do for ourselves, and all is healed. Okay, we've each got to be responsible for taking our life and the discernment and choices that we make for others, with others, or any relationship that we're having. And Mercury retrograde is going to pass back over Chiron, pass right back down here to the North Node. So we've got time, people. We've got time. Venus is in Aries. It is debilitated in Aries. Venus rules Libra. Libra's all the way over here in with nothing. Look at this chart. And Pluto coming up the back there, like the Prince of Minions, the Prince of the Minions. Go and have a look at my Minions video, and you know, it's Pluto times, collective. It is Pluto times. So hang on, and this is just the start of it. All right, this is just the start of it. And look, we've got this in a wide orb, Mercury, when it retrogrades, when it stations to retrograde, it is going to be squaring Pluto. So that's what I mean. Pluto is in the mix of both of these eclipses. All right. There's so much more. You have a look at your chart. It's mainly about the degrees, all right? So cardinal signs. Look at this stellium here in Aries. This, this has been, especially with North Node and Chiron, these two, the point and the asteroid, they make a big difference, honestly. Tune into these energies. Not all astrologers use these energies. Tune into them because they're our deep diving energies and Pluto's minions. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm back. So that's the first time I've used the charts. So please pop a comment in and help me out. Help me to get this video out there for those that need it. Like, subscribe if you've never seen me before. I've got so many videos in the playlist and in the description box. You don't even have to go to the playlist. I've listed in the description box, and we have done a lot of videos about Pluto, and they're still getting watched, right? And we're going to kick into Pluto more because Pluto will be stationing to go retrograde in May, and we're going to be looking at that. We've got Saturn returns and second Saturn returns for our subscribers here. But these eclipses, right? These eclipses, it's for change. How do we make change? We do things differently. And with the wounded healer there, when we have to make changes with others, sometimes we can have guilt, which is just a pattern. And, sometimes it's sad to let people go. But on the brighter end of all of this, new relationships have the space to come into your life, all right? We release and we receive. We release and we receive. So I hope you have some beautiful eclipses. And remember, they are a pair. So, and with Mercury retrograde, with wounded healer there, North Node in Aries, the first house of the self. Okay, we're healing, evolving. That's a sign of the times, everybody. So dig deep, Let go what you need to let go of. Attachment causes suffering. So that's all I've got to say today. Thank you for sticking with me. If you're here, I love you and thank you for your support. Please please just drop a tick in the comments box, because it's comments that serve the algorithm on YouTube, okay? And that way we can serve others with this information. So I'm a little different to other astrologers, a little unique, you could say, but that's the way I like to do it, my way. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Love you all. Enjoy the eclipses. And if you're struggling, I get it. We all get it. You're not alone, okay? You're not alone. All right. God bless you.